I trained for 5 years, hard, gave everything I had, no progress, nothing at all. And then I finally figured it out, and lifting was never the same for me ever again. This is my story, so the mistakes I made, the good things I did, this might actually save you years and years of frustration. So it all started when I was 20 years old. So I was just a fat kid and I found cricket. So it was a great sport that I was interested in. I played a lot of cricket and also fell in love with running along the way. So for me to play cricket, obviously I had to do running. I was running a lot because I was a fast bowler. Boom, one day, shin splints, okay? Slowly, progressively got worse, so I ran through it. I slowed my pace a bit. I was thinking, you know what, it'll be fine. And I sort of, you know, rode out the pain. I was like, this is gonna be fine. And surely it wasn't fine. Game over. I was done. And relatively, this is the time where my friend as well, I made a friend at school. We were basically speaking about getting into fitness. So he was a guy, he was skinny. He was basically super skinny as a young kid. And he was like, listen, mate, I'm just tired of my family and other people basically saying, oh, have you lost more weight? What's going on? Why aren't you looking the way you are? And he goes, it's like, you know, girls aren't looking at me anymore. No one really wants to speak to me. No one wants to be my friend. I'm in a bad place. I was like, you know what? I was playing sports. I loved it. Cricket was awesome. Running is awesome. I mean, I've got this injury now. I don't really know what to do either. I'm trying to stay in shape. I was really, really fat before. And both came to the conclusion, come on, man, you know what? Let's join the gym, okay? It'll be good. We'll both join the gym. He was thinking he'll start bulking. I was thinking I'll just cut, basically. And the funny thing is, we had no knowledge, no plan. All we had was Mike Chang. You guys probably, if you don't know him, good, and search him up. And we just had Google, right? We didn't have access, or I wasn't in the know, neither was he, of about forums and things like that. And then we also believed, like, you know what, when we're in the gym, we'll spend 3-4 hours in there, and perfect, everything's done, we've done it, we're gonna have a great workout and come out. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen. And then surely we had a wake-up call. So there was a lovely lady in the gym. She's obviously been watching us too, sort of bang our heads against the wall, but basically we were doing everything. So she's obviously seen us now. She's like, you do know, like, I've got a son that trains, and you have to eat properly accordingly to what you're doing, and you have to train. There's like an actual routine. You can't just come in and do whatever you want and then get progress. You can't make progress like that. It doesn't work. And we looked at each other. Now at this point, we've been training for like 6 months maybe. We were just sort of doing whatever. We looked at each other and we're like, she might be onto something. We need some help. We don't know what we're doing. We're having fun, but nothing's really working. We're not really putting on the muscle mass. All the magazines and pictures we see online, we're not getting there. So let's do something about it. So yeah, we went to the reception. So we were at a leisure centre at the time, and then they had like a free course. So they'll give you a free training program and a diet plan, and then they'll also give you a free PTing as well. It was just part of the membership. But yeah, that trainer, I mean, that's personally why I'm not such a fan of these sort of trainers, and no hate on to any of them. But these in-house PT, he basically wrote us a program. I remember this so well because it was so difficult for me to walk the following day. I was like 40 reps on a leg press, and it was like 5 sets. And my friend would go, and then without a second, he'd make me jump basically, and we'd alternate, and we did 5 sets, 40 reps each. I don't know if it was heavy or not, I can't remember, but it felt bloody heavy. So yeah, that happened. And then he also gave us this mega exercise. He goes, this is going to grow all your arm. So he'd grab the barbell like this and sort of just twist. And he was like, it's going to burn your forearms, and then in return, it's going to basically sort of travel onto you. I don't know what the logic was, but we, at the time, had no guidance. And we were like, this guy's massive, right? He knows what he's talking about. So we went with it. We did it for a while. And you guessed it, more wasted time. So we wasted more time, made no progress. If anything, we're lucky we were young because we didn't injure ourselves, because we were able to recover. And then what we did, us two brain boxes, we sat down, we said, listen, you know what it is? It's the gym. Of course it's the gym. Look around us. Who here is in shape? I mean, there were some people that were in shape, but not the shape we wanted to be in. And then we said, it's the gym, of course. It makes sense now. So let's join a bodybuilding gym. There's one right around the corner. It's cheaper. We didn't join it initially because we were too intimidated. It's cheaper, but let's join there. And then obviously we'll obviously have a bodybuilding physique. Now in the background, what's happening now is we've realized protein exists. Okay, that's partly my fault. So we didn't even look into the diet sort of thing. We just said, you know what, listen, we'll give it a year or two, we'll train, get in amazing shape, and then it'll be easy to maintain once we've done it, right? So at this, in the background now, we're slowly obviously being exposed to, you need to have lots more protein, training to failure, and what training to failure looks like. Again, unfortunately, at this gym as well, this bodybuilding gym where we thought we figured it all out, zero progress. And now enter bodybuilding.com. Fantastic. So you're probably looking at this literally shaking your head, but that's what we did. We went online. Like I say, there wasn't access to a lot of good information. There was a lot of information, and we just thought bodybuilding.com I mean, it's in the name, bodybuilding.com. It's bodybuilding. Obviously, that's where we're going to get all the information from. So yeah, I logged on. I was like, listen, mate, you chill, you relax. Because he was at this point thinking, it's not working. I'm still skinny. Obviously, we've been training for nearly a year now. What's going on? I was like, leave it to me. Let me do the research. And I did. And I went to bodybuilding.com. And lo and behold, there's programs on there of all kinds. 12 weeks, shred program, Jim Stepani, there was Chris Gethin, there's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We're like, hang on, stop right there. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. This physique, that's what we wanted. That's what we want. So we're going to obviously have to do his program to get that physique. Let's run that. What's wrong with it? And slowly we just, every week, every other week, we just started changing programs from program to program. It just made sense at the time. So that's the sort of level we were operating at in terms of the knowledge we had. Now, at the same time, I've discovered MyFitnessPal. Magical. I was thinking, oh my God, this whole time we've been worrying about training so much. My mate here, he's told me it's 90% diet and 10% workout. So we're not looking at the diet side of things, of course. So we're now sat down. I've got the MyFitnessPal open. I'm tracking everything wrong. Okay, I've got a scale, but I'm cooking, I'm weighing, I'm logging food that's not cooked versus cooked and logged incorrectly that way. Oil, I'm not calculating at all. Things of that nature. Do you know when you start tracking, it's always a bit awkward. I literally just went in, I've got a scale, I just need to put cooked food on it, and then that'll be fine. I wasn't even pressing 0 for the plate. Back then, we were 20. I know it probably sounds like common sense right now, because there's so much information that's half decent at least. You've got TikTok, you've got Instagram Reels, you've got a lot of people trying to help everyone. There's YouTubers, there's many as well. So, like I say, we only had minimal resources and we didn't want to be confused more than we already were. So we thought, this is what looks like it works. That's going to work. Let's do it. Now, another year's gone by and I've actually gotten quite fat at this point because I'm obviously overeating, but I kept telling myself, don't worry, your time will come. There'll be time where you have enough muscle mass and you look like everyone else that you want to look like. It's just a process because it'll take a few years. No real method to the madness, really. For me, I went on a different side of things. I was like, no, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I need to start cutting. And what I did was, to cut was, I don't know where this information came from. It was obviously on Google. But basically it said every so often or every week or every few days you need to cut your calories even more because then that ensures you're still in deficit. Lo and behold, on my MyFitnessPal I've put in about 800 calories at this point now I've reached. I think this is 3 days in. So what happened was basically I logged the food and I can physically remember this now. My plate had literally about a handful of rice, maybe not even that, and like a little bit of chicken. And then for me, in my head, I'm thinking that's 300 calories. But essentially what it was basically just... must have been about 50 calories or 60 calories for such little food. But for me, because I did it wrong, calculated wrong, I was thinking that was it. So 800 calories now, okay? So I must have been, for those 2 days that I did this, I must have been eating 200 calories a day. Felt insane hunger. I had school holidays, so I was just sleeping through the day. At the same time, I would basically run in the morning, do my weight training session in the evening, and then obviously throughout the whole day, I would personally think I was averaging around 300-400 calories. Again, it links back to the fact that I was young, so I was lucky I was able to get away with it, not for long. Lo and behold, a couple of days later, what happened was basically I was sleeping, and suddenly, I don't physically remember exactly how it felt, but what happened was I just jumped like out of bed and I sat down and I was so out of breath, and I remember I was sweating and my heart was just racing. I had like such bad palpitations, and at that point I panicked a little bit because I was young, I've had a health scare randomly, and then I kind of knew what it was exactly to do with because I wasn't feeling great. Obviously, think about it, I don't know how many calories you guys are eating, but no one's eating 300 calories, not even people that are competing with low muscle mass even then. But I was so, I just wanted this so bad that I thought this will be the reason, or this will be the way that fixes it, so I did it. And then for that night, I woke up and when I was shaking out, I had to go downstairs. I made my way downstairs. I calmed down a bit. It was just more, my body just woke me up, and I had some food. At that same time, I remember, I think it was roughly 2 a.m. at the time. I sat down, I whacked open my phone again. All right, back on the internet. Hey, and then I found this YouTuber. I think it was an Indian YouTuber, Taran Gill. That was the gentleman's name. And I remember at the time, so he was speaking about how, there's so much more to a good physique than a set of abs. And I think I found comfort in that. So what I did was I found like a safe place in that, because that's something I could relate to. Because in my head, I was like, if I have abs, I have a great physique. So what I saw was him basically say, you don't need a great set of abs to have a good physique. Come on, there's more than that, more to life than that. You can look amazing and have no abs. So what I did was I sort of settled. So I was like, no, you know what? Instead of me trying to kill myself here, the better option would be, this guy's right. So I started relating to him, and I sort of had lower goals because of that, I think. So I gave myself a bit of a pass that this is how I need to be. And then at that point as well, I swore, I was like, you know what, I'm still going to train as hard as I possibly can. I'm still going to eat as well as I can. But all these people I see online or even in person that are in shape, it's all steroids anyway. It's all steroids. I can't do it. It's not for a natural person, and drugs is something I'm not going to take. Lucky for me, I think the COVID was a great time for me for fitness. It was 2020 now at this point, and I've somehow stumbled across a video from Greg Doucette. So mind you, I was still into fitness. Obviously, I can't go gym anymore, so I was sat basically around watching gym motivation videos and more knowledge videos. That's when I slowly started reading into things basically properly, because obviously, like I said before, then I shut myself off for all those years. There must have been so much more information out there, but I just shut myself off because I was like, that health scare I had has just switched me off completely. And then I was thinking, you know what, it's not worth it for me to look into this like this, because I'm eventually going to kill myself. He spoke about tracking your calories and doing it on how to cut basically. He would say you do it over a long term and you cut a certain amount of calories. You're dropping scale weight, you basically leave it alone. You just wait until that stops. And to me that was novel, because remember when we spoke about before, where I'd read it said every so often you drop your calories to make sure you're in a deficit. So my brain was thinking, I'm in a deficit today, tomorrow to be in a deficit again, I need to drop even more calories. I don't know, that now it sounds so silly. I see that from Greg and I was thinking, that seems sustainable. You know, I'm at home constantly, let me give that a try. So I try it for a week, and at this point I've reached about 125 kilograms, and weight started falling off again. Weight started melting off, and I was thinking, okay, this guy is where I need to be at. This is where the information is. So thank you so much. I found the person finally, and that fire that was lit back in the days, you know, that made me even tolerate those 200 calories for those 2 days. That fire, to the desire to have a great physique or be involved in the sport again, it just came up. I didn't resonate with Greg in terms of his training advice. When I saw his advice for training, to me, I just couldn't connect with it. Obviously, you're thinking he's a professional, you should have at least listened to him. But gyms weren't open, first of all, anyway. Second of all, I don't know, I just thought he's just saying train harder. I don't know, I can't do this to myself again, where I'm sat there for years again, I'm losing the will because I've tried something for 6 months and it's not worked at all. I just don't want to be misled anymore. And along came Steve Shaw, massive iron. I came along his channel, and his channel basically, I was like, simple. He's talking straight at me. He's telling me exactly what I need to do. I was like, okay, this guy is telling me how it is, and he's telling me long term what it needs to be done. And he does coaching as well, so he knows what he's talking about. For me, that was the ticket. I was thinking, as soon as the gym's open, I'm gonna pick something that he would design. He has some programs on muscle and strength, I think, or even on his channel. He's giving out so much free stuff. I was like, I'm gonna do it. That's what I'm gonna do. I think this is it. This is the only way it's gonna happen now. Because remember, the fire was lit now. Because I lost that initial weight, and I was continuing to lose weight throughout lockdown, and the fire was there now, and the gyms were closed, and it was building more and more and more. And I just needed to step into a gym. I was still researching, and I thought to myself, you know what? Progress is happening. I want it to happen faster. I've been in the past, you guys know my history now, so in the past where I've spent years, and at the end of it I've come around and I've realised I've done nothing, I've achieved nothing. If anything, things have got worse. If this happens to me again, I don't know how I'll recover from it on a mental level. You know, if you think about it from, I would say 2015 or 2014 onwards, constant failure, and then 2020 I've got a bit of a break where I've found someone that can give me the right information. I can't miss out. So what I did was I took the option. I pressed the link in his description for one of his videos, and I signed up. I was like, okay, I need a coach. Lo and behold, I hired Steve. Fantastic. He's given me a own custom program. He spoke to me on the phone. I was a bit starstruck first because I was like, oh my God, Steve's talking to me. And we spoke over WhatsApp, and he laid everything out. Fantastic. I'm slowly starting to understand. So he was giving me knowledge, obviously through his videos, but as well as that on his app as well. And it's opened a whole new world for me, and I'm understanding things that is tailored to me. So that was fantastic. Enter Fazlifts. Okay. So he was on a podcast with Steve. So I was subscribed to Steve. He came on a podcast, and I'm watching this podcast now. It's been half an hour or so, and I've listened to Faz, and I'm just blown away. I was like, okay, you know what? Who is this guy? It's so refreshing. I've not seen anyone like this on YouTube or anywhere that's given any fitness advice with that much rigor. I subscribed to him, watched a few videos, and I've just started binging his content. I needed someone that would basically say, this is why you need to do it. This is what you're doing, this is why. And then he would go back in the history as well. So he'd go back in time and say, this is why, back then this is how it used to happen. And slowly, and for me, like I say, from the background that I came from, the struggles of misinformation, and just not knowing what to do, having no clue. He was obviously UK based as well. So when I would ever message him, which I did once on Instagram, I would just get an instant reply. So for me at the time, the best thing was to do was I messaged Steve. I said, you know what, it's been amazing. really, really good, because I can't fault his coaching at all. It worked for me as much as I needed at the time. And I told him, I feel like I would be more aligned with Faz. I just want to try it out. It's just something I want to do. And then, yeah, lo and behold, Faz entered, and we made great progress. So I think from 100 kilograms down to 68, I was working with Faz for over the course of 6-7 months. I can't remember. I can't really recall, but in that time, obviously, I'm watching his videos, and also I'm getting tailored advice to myself, which is exactly what I needed. And here's the part you guys have all been waiting for. Thank you so much for really listening to this story. So the things that I've learned that I wish I knew as soon as I started, and it would have never come to me wasting all those years. So number one, this is not in any order. Number one, I ignored the basics. Okay, it sounds simple, but so many people would do this, where I spoke about it earlier. Shoulder press, I would just swap it for something else. So there would be a squat. I did a squat once. It feels awkward. I think I'm going to do a leg press instead. You know, a shoulder press. Oh, it feels a bit weird on my shoulder. I'm going to do lateral raises instead. You need to know you can't ignore the basics. You're going to be confronted by them at one point in one way or another. Either you spend years and years, or a year, or however long, ignoring them, and they're only to turn around and then there it is staring up you back right in your face. There's no must-do exercise, but me personally, I think at the start, there is. Program hopping. One thing you need to do is, if you have a program or if you have an approach that you want to do, stick to it. Don't do what I did exactly, or don't do what many people do, is where you pick the program, it's been a week, you didn't like something, you change the whole thing again. Or your core basic exercises, the ones that you need to progress on, you've now changed them again. Don't be that guy. Pick a program and then just stick to it. Give it a consistent amount of time, and before you can say something that needs to change. Diet disasters, you know, I had all of them. Overeating, undereating, not knowing how much protein I'm consuming. Make sure when you do look for your food information, you've got the right information. You're not picking up something just somewhere random like bodybuilding.com or somewhere just on Google Images. Just make sure you have someone that gives you the right information. There's many people, like I've said, Steve, Faz, even Greg has good information on that account in terms of food. Lyle McDonald's is a great source for diet information as well. You know, make sure there's reputable people that things work. You know, calories in, calories out is ultimately what does the weight loss, but there's more to it if you're looking to bulk or gain muscle and all. So make sure you have the right guidance surrounding that. That ties nicely into the guidance side of things. So make sure, obviously, people you do take guidance from are actually guiding you, not misguiding you. So like I said, I had those people around, like Mike Chang, the Hodge twins. They weren't really looking, they giving information, you know, but they weren't really coaches in that way. But bodybuilding.com, you'd have people like Chris Gethin and others that are just trying to make a quick buck, basically. And then you stumble upon their plans, and just make sure it's legit, right? Just cross-check them. I wouldn't use Reddit for a source, but sometimes when there's a community speaking about an individual, it can help highlight things that you might not see. So seek the right person for the guidance. And inevitably, when you do all these things, there'll be a point in your training where things will get tough. You'll probably get stuck somewhere, right? You probably won't progress anymore. And what it will be is, you're going day in, day out, you go in to do the training session, and there's a weight that you are confronted with, and you're confronted with it again and again, 2 weeks in a row, and the progress seems to be slowed. You just need to know that it's normal rate of progression. You need to not change an exercise, however, stick to it. Look at the food first, your sleep, how your training program is done already, and then, like, the main thing, have you given it enough time, right? At one point you won't progress every week, it just won't happen. So hang in there for the long haul, basically. And final, the most important one, I think, is don't accept mediocrity, okay? Don't settle. I did that. So we spoke about this basically, where I saw this physique that I had at the time, and I was thinking, I can't do any better anyway, it's too hard, it's not possible for me because I'm not assisted or whatever. So rather than basically getting all the pieces of the puzzle and just bringing them back in-house together and come up with a strategy, I decided to accept a subpar physique for my standard that I can achieve as an actual. You don't even need drugs for the physique that I wanted, or that I want, and I just settled. Okay, so just make sure your goals are high, lofty goals. You know, you need to have something that you can aim for physically, or numbers on the bar, and something big that you can look towards, and then just know that you can achieve it. Because ultimately, when you're stuck in the gym, you know, your sort of weights aren't progressing, or you're struggling to eat more food, the thing that will carry you forward or will make this all worthwhile will be that big goal. Having the know-how, the self-belief that, of course I can do it. How can I do it is the real question. It's more of a case of when, not if. When you start thinking that way, you'll start answering things, you know, like imagine you're confronted with a situation. You had my mindset from back then, where I saw, this is too difficult, this is going to take a long time, I'm happy with where I'm at. That's not the answer. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, these were the mistakes that cost me 5 years. Don't let them cost you 5 years. And if you enjoyed this and if you want more story times and something similar like this, do leave a comment, like, subscribe and share and all that good stuff. And I'll speak to you guys next time. Peace out.